Story 1. You will regain a little bit of yourself each day. You may not always notice it. One day, you will realize that you did not think about the heartache until you were on your way out the door for work. These are little victories. You will get through your first break at work. Eventually, you will go a week without it. There will be setbacks. We are all human. It will be okay. There is no luck involved, just time passing and continuing to do what you do. Story 2. I disagree with many comments. Much of what I am seeing boils down to a lack of critical thinking, which is not ideal, because it can lead to a sudden realization that brings one back to the issue. Instead, consider two things. First, blame yourself. Accept that it is your fault and then contemplate how you can improve. Or, accept that some people may not like you despite your best efforts. However, consider taking some responsibility for your feelings. Be honest with yourself. Are you the best version of yourself? Avoid creating drama by blocking or completely cutting off these individuals. That takes energy and hinders your ability to move on. Instead, interact with them less and do not waste your time in conversation. Avoid being overly accommodating. Focus on self-improvement and seek spiritual guidance. Strive to be your best self in every way so that you can move on naturally and become secure, minimizing the chances of getting hurt again. Story 3. Cut them off completely. Get rid of everything that reminds you of them and find a new hobby or something that will distract you while you process the loss. It takes time, but I have found that those other activities I mentioned have helped a great deal. Story 4. Just realize that when you look back with perspective, it was such a small part of a much larger picture about seeking meaning in this chaos. You don't need someone to find it. It just helps if it's the right person. Story 5. Depending on the context, you can seek reconciliation or closure. If neither is truly possible, then you must accept that this person was a part of your life. Acknowledge the emotions tied to that history and be grateful for the lessons learned. Move with the current. Fighting against it is like fighting against a wave. Story 6. You need to reach the stage of acceptance. This means acknowledging that those people are no longer a significant part of your life and that it is over. You must understand that you have to move on. How do you reach this stage? By embracing the discomfort. Yes, confront it directly. Being under the influence is only a temporary relief. You will feel the pain again once you are sober. So, avoid it for now. Cry, scream, listen to heart-wrenching songs on repeat. Confide in close friends or family. Break things if needed, but confront those difficult emotions to release what you are feeling. Yes, time will eventually heal you. The heart needs to synchronize with the brain, so it will take time. There is no way around it. It is one of nature's unbreakable rules. Acceptance and time will heal your broken heart and hopefully restore your wholeness. Once you emerge from this, you will be emotionally stronger. Story 7. You just move on. It's all you can do. If they do not want to be with you, there is nothing you can do. Just move on. Story 8. In the words of the wise man CeeLo Green, forget you and forget her too. Sing it out loud. Although there's pain in your chest, you can still wish them the best with a forget you. Story 9. Depends. If you made a mistake, decide not to repeat it. Otherwise, they did you a favor. Story 10. Like everyone else has said, time. Eventually, one day you will wake up and care less. Then, one day you will wake up and care even less until one day you do not care at all. Someday, you will even get to the point where you question, how was I that upset? Story 11. No contact. Do not reach out to them about anything at all. Delete their number and unfriend or unfollow them on social media. Distance and time will help immensely. Story 12. I was reading a paper discussing that feelings can last for some time, so people often say that time is the answer. You can help with this by finding hobbies and distractions to take your mind off things. You might consider writing a letter and not sending it, but instead burning it, similar to having a funeral. This ritual allows you to say goodbye, helping you to move forward, which is why we have funerals to honor what and who they were to us. Story 13. Time and therapy. Married now, 2 kids. I wouldn't change any of what I've lived. The first ex, the one I projected a future with, left me after 5 years of relationship. It was my first serious breakup. I've learned a lot since then. Nevertheless, my position on the subject is that getting over someone doesn't mean forgetting or pretending it never happened. It's more about learning to live with the absence. It's a grief. You can't forget, and you must learn to deal with the non-existence. Time is a friend, but you must face the pain and work through it. Otherwise, time won't be productive, and it will take longer to heal. With time, the memories that remain will be the good ones. In my case, I turned the negative feelings I had from the fresh wound into something else. I am grateful for the good times shared, for the love we had, and for the lessons learned, both together and during the breakup. Being alone is great when you are healthy, and being in a relationship means choosing to share time together, which I consider one of the greatest demonstrations of love, every day with a healthy partner who feels the same way. If this dynamic changes, then renegotiate or stop it. This conversation comes up every time we have a strong argument with my wife. We both agreed to this years ago, and it still works. I won't read everything again, but I felt I could share something useful. I hope it comes in handy. Stay strong. Talk about what's happening to you. Everything will work out if you work for it. Story 14. I don't know, but I can share what a wise person told me once. He had gone through a difficult breakup and wasn't coping well. Months later, I saw him, and he seemed like himself again. I asked him about the change. He said, "You know how long it takes to get over losing your wife?" I replied that I didn't know. He then said, "It takes as long as it takes to meet your next wife." While this shouldn't be taken literally, I believe it offers wise advice not just about relationships. Do you know how long it takes to get over losing your dream job or your best friend? You guessed it. Story 15. If it's limerence, just get to know the person. Usually, people are very different from the picture in your mind. Story 16. I personally realize that I have been romanticizing the past, which was hard to accept at first. Nowadays, if I feel a moment of missing him, I just roll my eyes at myself and remember that he would have made me a single mother. I acknowledge my feelings and then move on. Story 17. Acceptance of the fact, time, and the steps needed to move on can be painful, can be tedious and take a while. However, it happens. The fastest way is to engage with someone else. Developing interest in another person helps you realize that you need to and can get over someone much quicker. Story 18. For me, after my last relationship where I was cheated on, I had to start going to therapy and, of course, take time for myself. It's been a year since I broke up with my ex. I still have occasional dreams and thoughts about them. It also helps to block them on social media and their phone number so they cannot contact me and so I won't be tempted to reach out. Story 19. Write a song about how you feel. It may not help you get over them, but at least your emotions can serve as a creative outlet. Story 20. It's so true that I want to move on, but I can't. For context, one of my friends is dating the girl I have wanted for so long. I was trying to better myself to be with her, and just when I was about to ask her out, my friend told me they had been dating for a few months. It's probably my fault for taking too long, but I thought she was the one. Story 21. Time for reflection. For me, it was simply acknowledging my feelings of resentment and relief over the end of a relationship that took 5 years to overcome. When it was good, it was good. When it was bad, it was bad. The negative experiences often outweighed the positive ones. What ultimately helped me through the heartache was remembering how poorly I was treated during the difficult times. There were always emotional and mental games involved. However, not every relationship is detrimental. In this case, I would say, be happy it happened, not sad it's over. Story 22. What you want to do is engage in various activities without giving yourself time to overthink. Avoid tasks that require you to sit down and reflect. Focus on physical activities like going to the gym or participating in sports. Additionally, steer clear of social media platforms such as TikTok and Instagram. Spend time with the people you love, like family and friends, but try not to dwell on or discuss them. They should not occupy your thoughts. Also, stay away from sad music and romantic themes for a while. Story 23. I never thought this during my heartbreak or in the years that followed when I believed it was true love and a noble choice. But it wasn't. I reached out and realized I was forgotten. They will forget you. I regret learning this about myself because I was kind then and deserved better. Story 24. I get away from everything. I drive far away and hike somewhere. Life was going in one direction, but that path was blocked. It's time to change course. Before that, one must reset. Story 25. One day you will realize you haven't thought about them for a while. It might be an interesting moment and then you just move on. It is beautifully anticlimactic. Story 26. Remind yourself of the things you love that your ex did not. My ex couldn't stand spicy food, but I love it. I ate delicious spicy food every day to remind myself of what I was missing. Story 27. It depends on how long you are together. My 15-year marriage ended 3 years ago. It hasn't gotten any easier. You just get used to it. Story 28. I recorded many voice notes in my Apple Notes app to express my feelings. It was nice to go back and listen to them for validation and to process my emotions without judgment or outside opinions. I also spent a lot of time with my friends and took my dog to the park. Story 29. Understand the difference between your perception and reality. Grieve and move on by wholeheartedly focusing on something else, such as a hobby or physical activity. Story 30. Getting over someone takes time, but the key is to focus on yourself. Allow yourself to feel, but don't dwell. Fill your days with things that make you happy. Friends, hobbies, and new experiences. Distance helps, as does reminding yourself why it didn't work. Most importantly, be kind to yourself. One day, you will wake up and realize they are just a memory, not a weight on your heart. Story 31. Dear OP, I know it seems impossible and sometimes it's really hard, but time fixes everything. Trust me, there is no one who can't get over someone else on this earth. Unless, of course, you are not obsessed. You can try therapy to speed up the process and get to know yourself better to detach from someone else. Story 32. They should lie horizontally on the ground for you to easily step over them. If they are standing, it is a bit harder. Humor is my key to overcoming difficulties. It would be a long, tiresome life if you take everything seriously. Story 33. You view memories as lessons in life, a learning curve for the future, and do not dwell on them. Simply reference them in your mind when they are triggered by similar circumstances, and make decisions based on what is in front of you and what you know. Story 34. I have always wanted to understand how someone becomes attached to another person. For me, it doesn't make sense to depend on someone else for anything. Story 35. Stoicism. Things become difficult when we resist what is happening. Radical acceptance is necessary to truly understand that you are not meant to be in certain situations and that you are better off without them. Story 36. Learn from it and move on. I always say to overcome the loss of a girlfriend by finding someone new. Story 37. What I recommend is to have no contact while also finding new people to socialize with. Now is a good time to reach out to friends you haven't seen in a while. Join a new club, class, or whatever. Now is the time for self-improvement. Focus on yourself because you are currently hitting a low point. Concentrate on improvement so when you do meet someone special, you'll be in a much more elevated place than where you are right now. Take time to reassess the relationship. Find out what went wrong and how to improve. Was it their fault, yours, or both? Reflect on this because it is a crucial lesson for you to learn. If a similar situation arises in future dating experiences, you will notice the red flags much sooner and know how to address them. Write your thoughts down in a journal if necessary. But above all, do not obsess over them. Delete any photos of you together and move on. Story 38. Think about how much you did not want to date or love someone anymore. Now, realize that you may be that person to whoever you miss. Move on and find someone who appreciates you and values what you bring to a relationship. There are billions of fish in the sea, and many of those will make you just as happy, if not happier, than you have been before. Story 39. Stay busy. Pick up extra shifts at work, hit the gym, go out with friends. All day long, engage in activities that keep your focus on the task at hand, rather than on your sadness. It may be exhausting, but that is beneficial because at night you'll be too tired to lie awake in bed feeling sad. After a few weeks of this, exercise will improve your fitness, extra hours at work will increase your income, and spending time with friends will strengthen your social relationships. All of this will boost your self-esteem and help you feel better about yourself. Time heals all wounds. If you spend time dwelling on your emotional wounds, you're only prolonging your sadness. Staying busy will help dull the pain. You may still feel sad when you think about those wounds, and that's okay. However, you will have more positive aspects in your life to focus on. That is the goal. Story 40. I usually have a relationship with someone in her family, often a sister or mother. This gives me satisfaction in showing her what she is missing. Story 41. I fight it with every fiber of my being and try to get her back. She is still my perfect partner. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.